specification due by the end of the week. However, I will give you until Tuesday to turn it in, okay, because we were behind half a week due to that doctor's appointment of mine. Does that make sense? Okay, so in terms of logo specification, what I am looking for is, and this goes along with today's lecture, so let me download this file.
Should we follow as well?
You don't have to. I mean, you can download it and open it if you want to.
Which one is it? How pages?
So on my assignment 5, final logotype and specification, this download link right here, logotype specification template. So this is where what I need you to specify. I've got more specifications than necessary in this document, okay? But what I do need you to specify is what typeface you used and what colors you used, okay? So this is where, remember when I started talking about PMS colors? Who remembers what PMS stands for? No, no face like that. Pantone matching system, okay? So if we look at Pantone.com, Pantone matching system, okay? So if we are doing something in print, right, using spot colors, okay? So let's go to my resource, who's in Martin's WEB114 class? Okay, so under my resources page, this tutorial using type and printing in Illustrator, you all did this similar tutorial, correct? Okay. Did he talk about spot colors in this one? He did? Okay. So basically, if you have some kind of a logo like this, right? Like let's say you were going to put this logo on a t-shirt, right? We're all familiar with what silk screening is. True, do we have anybody with the silk screen anything? No, we don't. On right now. So if you're familiar with silk screening, how many of you have done silk screening? Right, where you actually have a screen, you lay down one paint, you bring it up, you let it dry, you move the thing over, you put another screen down, and you have another paint, okay? Those are essentially spot colors, right? Meaning they are pre-mixed ink to a specified color. So when we are doing business cards and or brochures or anything, any kind of print material that we don't want to pay for full color CMYK process printing, we will use spot colors, right? So doing 2 colors over a paper, right? Which I think, let me get your opinion on this, Joe. Business cards. When you see CMYK printed business cards versus spot color business cards, what do you prefer?
Oh, spots are brighter.
Yeah. So I think the spot colors are a little bit classier, right? They look, I don't know, they feel more traditional and nice to me. So basically what we need to do then is we need to specify what those colors are, okay? And as well, when we get to the business card lecture, I will show you how the separations on a business card will come about. But basically, if we then go to the printing menu, right? So if we go to print this, because I have used spot colors, I can then control just printing out the red color and in this case the gray color, right? And positive, convert all spot colors, black. So if I print this now, I should get two pieces of paper, one for each plate, okay? Or think of it in terms of silk screening, one for each color of the graphic for the screen. So if you've done silk screening in the past, you would see that it's printed out one color as a plate and another color as a plate. So that when these things are printed, right, or business cards are printed, and we'll do this again when we do the business card lecture, right? These two plates then I'll use this as my light table, can come together, right, with these registration marks. So these papers then will represent when you do have printing plates in a big printer, right, like a offset printer, right, and then they mix the color of the ink, right, and put down one color, put down another color, and so that's called spot color printing. Does that make any sense? Yes, no? Here's the long and the short of it. When you are then doing your logo, if you are using colors, I want you to convert all colors to spot color using the Pantone matching system. So therefore, under Window, Swatches, oops, sorry. Swatch libraries, color books, I typically use Pantone solid coded, okay? So if I was looking for that red, I am designating this red to be PMS 186, right? So there's Pantone 186, and you can see by this little icon right here that it is a spot color versus an RGB or a CMYK color. Does that make any sense to anybody, right? If it doesn't, when we take a look at the business cards, it'll make more sense to you. The long and the short of it is, what I want you to do is when you are specifying colors, is to open up the Pantone solid coded spot colors and pick the closest color that resembles any of the colors that you are using. Okay, does that make sense? Because then we're gonna, when we do a logo specification like this, if we look at, you have a question that I haven't answered, right?
But you can.
Okay. If we go to Seattle Central College brand guidelines. I know I have a link for it somewhere on my website, but it's easier to just Google it, right? This is where then, if they have a logo, right, they have to then designate how this logo is used, if it is reversed over a color, if it is blue and black over white, how it, the legal, well, legal-ish, right? Or however they want you to use it in terms of, remember our logo formulas, right?
I like the term legal-ish.
Legal-ish. You know what I mean? Like how they want you to use it, where they have the icon, brand, industry, icon, brand name, industry, you know, et cetera, et cetera. They then designate Don't use it like this. And let me just say it like this. Every time I'm walking around the hallways in Seattle Central, you know exactly where I'm going with this, Joe. And I see somebody has done the logo and they've like stretched it or condensed it. Don't you just, oh my God. Like I can't, my day is ruined, right? Just don't do that, please. Okay. But they then have to call out the color palette. So this is where typical color palettes will be called out as a PMS color. For those of you at home, you can't see what I'm pointing at on the screen, right? So PMS 640, it can be converted to a CMYK, it can be converted to an RGB, it can be converted to a hex color, right? You can find a PMS color if you've already designated a hex color, but it's easier to start with a PMS color for the conversions, okay? As well, this is what gets into the setting type that we're going to do today. They also call out what typefaces they use for the headlines and the body copy and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do now is we are going to set type. We have to come up with our bio page assignment, right? So what I need you guys to do for the next assignment is, if we, now, I'm serious now, create your own new document, your own Illustrator document. Do not open my document and edit it. It's in bold and it's in red. Okay. But if I am then now trying to set type around my brand and the logo that I just created, right? I would need to know what typefaces are used, what colors are used, and any, like in my logo, I tilted it 10 degrees. I did a 10-degree shear. That is not necessarily something that I reproduced in the headlines. It could be something that I reproduced. I did reproduce that specification when I got to the business card, and we'll take a look at that next week. But one way, shape, or form, the object is if, let's say, you have, whoops, wrong website. If you have any logo that you have done you need to then come up with supporting typography to extend the brand through a series of documents, whether it's brochures, whether it's white papers, whether it's a web page, whatever. So what we need to start to do is to figure out how to set type and figure out what type we're going to use. So a good, easy starting point is that if you did a logo like this, and again, we have an icon, we have the brand name, we have the industry. In this case, the icon is replacing a letter form, but the brand name is done in Garamond, Adobe Garamond, which is in this logo, the little bit more of the creative typeface, but it's at the top of the hierarchy chain. Then we have Universe, I believe I used 57, condensed there. It is at the bottom of the hierarchy chain. So looking at this logo then, we could use this logo, this typeface, Adobe Garamond, for the headlines, and this typeface, Universe 57, as the body copy, right? And that is a real easy way of extending your brand throughout the rest of your print collateral or your online collateral, especially when you have typefaces like Universe And we'll see when we get to business cards, we'll see a little bit more of what I'm talking about. But if we open up Suitcase, and I look for Universe, we have a lot of different versions of Universe, right? So we could use that whole extended family all the way through our page to create the different sense of hierarchy all the way through our page, right? While staying on brand versus using 7 or 8 different typefaces. We can use 2 typefaces and their extended family to create that overall hierarchy while still being a cohesive brand, right? That's the goal. So when you specify your logo then, right? Now, this one, I'm just specifying Arial Black and Arial Regular. So now I'm gonna do a page of set type demo for you. And I'm gonna recreate this, right? So here, I'm using Arial Black. It's condensed to 90% because that's what I did in my logo, okay? 90% width. I tried doing the sheer, tilting it, but it looked funny for headlines. It looked good on the back of my business card. I keep on referencing that. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. When we get to the business card lecture or business card assignment, on the back of the business card, up here, I use that 10-degree shear. I tilt it, right?
So the letters?
I did. I used, instead of making it italic, Arial Black didn't have an italic version, not that I found anyway. Not that I found in my stolen set of fonts from Nintendo from way back when. So there is the, you're gonna make me try to find that, there it is, shear, where you can tilt something. So if I did, right, it's gonna, so I mimicked an italic, basically. And I tried it out, recreating that for my headlines, but it just looked funny. But ultimately, what we need to do is learn how to set appropriate type. So let's take a look at the principles of setting type. The anatomy of setting type. Look at that, I have a lecture on it. Columns and measures. Now, there is a readability formula that I adhere to. And this is my most favorite joke.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's appropriate, classroom appropriate.
I'm sure.
If you Google readability on Wikipedia, I might have brought this up in the past. How readable is this copy?
I can't see anything.
Not too good from back here,
It's a little tight.
right? So why is it not readable?
Because you're half blind.
It's
I am.
condensed.
Letters are condensed. The words are condensed.
Okay. I'm going to say there are 3 things at play that create, to me, a readability formula. One is column width. Okay. This column is way too wide. So if you're getting to here, high reading comprehension, readers with, you have to go back and read the next line. But if this line is too long, you try to come back to the next line and you stumble. How many of you have ever done that? And you've then read the wrong line? Skipped a line, okay? That impedes readability. So you would want then an appropriate column width. Now how readable is it? It might be too small for you in the back trying to read it way back here, right? But if you have this up on your screen, now it's relatively readable because point size, column width, right, brings you into the arena of, or the area of, between 40 to 80 characters per line, okay? So if you go, my guideline is, if you go up past 80 characters per line, readability starts to get compromised. So you have to then hit that under 80 mark on the web, right? So between column size and type size, so for instance,
Is this for every kind of like document?
yes,
Okay. Between 40 and 80.
yes. That's what Mike Sinkula says, between 40 and 80.
Yeah, but I think Olga talked about the same thing.
Yeah, you'll get other formulas. 60 plus or minus 6 is another formula. But one way, shape, or form, it's my drinking game. I have to drink. Sorry. Between size of the font or typeface, column width, right? You'll get a characters per line. What if, though, I inspected this, and let's see if there is line height. So they then have font size 1.37 EMs, line height 1.35 EMs. What if we went 0.9 EMs? How readable is that now? Too squished. Okay. So letting in line height also plays, right, a factor. What if it was 2 EMs? What if it was 3 EMs? Whoops. 4 EMs. This can start to make for artistic type on posters and CD covers and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to body copy, that's just not readable, right? So if we go back to then the anatomy of setting type, typing print is usually set in a column, and the width of that column is called its measure, or the width of that column. I never use the term measure, right? The overall line length of a line of type may or may not reach out to the full width of the column's measure, right? So in other words, this is left aligned, ragged right, okay? So it may not come all the way out unless it's justified text, okay? But still, things are set in a column. So what are columns? What is the grid? Well, unfortunately, let's see if he replaced this link. Ooh, he did. Good. Last quarter, his article went down because he redid his site. And I sent him an email saying, hey, dude, I count on that article for a class. Look at that. So basically, let's see what he's got here. Going from this, that it looks like somebody did in Microsoft Word, to this. What's the real difference? The grid. Okay? So this example right here, things aren't aligned. They're all kind of centered aligned and haphazard. Think if you looked at a building and all the windows weren't aligned correctly. You'd look at that building and say, I'm not sure if that's safe to go in, right? Okay. So if we align things correctly, in other words, this headline is aligned for those of you that are skipping class and not seeing what I'm pointing at here. By this headline being aligned to that image, that headline being aligned on that image, this text being aligned, and then 2 columns of text. In other words, this grid is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 column grid. And just by putting things within the grid, we've gone from amateur to professional. Okay? So what do we do on the web? Search. I'm fond of the 960 grid system. So how many of you have used a grid system before? Is anybody in WEB112? Are they doing grids in WEB112?
I just watched a video about it.
So we talk about this in the theory of web design class, WEB200, that you guys are going to take in school. But I typically use a 12 column, 960 pixel grid. And you can see it in action if, how many of you have ever looked at the top of my website up here and thought to yourself, why are there those numbers? How many of you have ever done this? Oh, look, those things change. And now there's only 4 columns. Now there's only 3 columns. Now there's only 2. Okay? That is using the grid. So if I open up this demo of mine, here's the grid in action. All right? We have a copy column. We have a sidebar. We have copy. We have an image. We have a headline. Whoops, I didn't mean to click on that. But everything, can you guys see the columns on projector? So you can see that everything is lined up directly over those columns to create a grid-based layout. Essentially, going from something like this to something like this. Make sense? We'll talk more about the grid in WEB200. Okay? Today, we are going to worry about copy column size, right? I'm going to use a 620 pixel column in my demo when I get to it. Leading and spaces. So again, what was the definition of leading or line height? How do you define it?
The space between
From what to what?
the baseline.
The measurement from baseline to baseline to baseline to baseline. Okay? So, looking at this text right here, we have 14, 14, 32, 16, 14, 14. So they start with a 14, whatever unit, point, pixel, measurement from baseline to baseline to baseline. And then they add space. Again, for those of you at home, I'm pointing at the screen. If you don't know what I'm pointing at. They add space above the headline. They add a little space below the headline. How practical is doing that in the web world when you're setting type? Not by doing it leading, controlling the leading. In other words, controlling, giving this line right here, this last line, a leading of 32 or a line height of 32, trying to control that in CSS. Good luck to you. So instead, what we do is space before and space after. Okay? So I am now going to, because we started a little bit late, I'm going to skip past some of these things and jump right now into Illustrator. And here's what I want you to do for your Bio Page 1 assignment. You need to, let me close some of these windows. Go to Bio Page 1, what you need to do is you need now to take your logo and set type, right? Meaning, you need to include your logo, a main level heading, at least 2 sub-level headings in a row. Let's tell you what I mean. At least two paragraphs in a row. That's what I meant to say. So, one ordered list, a block quote, and a text link. You must specify column width, type size, leading, space before and space after. Okay, so you need to end up with a document that looks like this. And every time I open this document, it ruins that down there. Okay. Where this type is set in a 500 pixel column, which is an old column size when we used to worry about 800 by 600 monitors. The headline is 21 over 21. The body copy is 14 over 21, so on and so forth. So let's put one together, shall we? Or let's have you watch me put one together, and then you can rewatch this video when you're trying to put yours together. Remember, you are creating your own document. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to create a new document. I'm going to set it to pixels. I'm going to say, let's just go 1024. And I'm going to say 1200 for the height. Okay. In other words, we're going with the lowest common denominator of a 1024 monitor, right? But we also want it to be a lot taller than 768 given the scrolling. Fair enough? Sounds like a decent document size. I'm going to go with RGB color mode for right now. Whatever. Create. So now I have a document. And if any time I want to change or edit my artboard, my document, whoops, I could go here to, I shouldn't have hit layers there, I meant to do artboard. This button right here will allow you to change the artboard, okay? We could even go to a preset. I like using the tabloid preset, right? Okay. And this will give us enough room, but that helps me get you to print things out on tabloid size paper. So anyway, that was Jill. She's observing me for my tenure committee stuff.
Oh.
She's an instructor up here. So anyway, so I'm going to do tabloid. I'm going to turn my rulers on, pretzel R. Zoom in a bit. I'm going to make 2 guides. Close my layers here. One, so if I click in the ruler and I bring this over, I'm just going to bring it over to 50. What is 50 plus 620?
670.
670. I'm going to make another one. I don't know if it's, I'm going to close some of these palettes here. Window, view, guides, unlock guides. Where's the info palette when I need it? Info. There we go. So if I click on this guide, you can see, transform. Put that guide right on 50. But this guide, if I hit the transform, 690, right?
70.
620 plus 50, yeah, 670. Okay, because essentially what I want to do is, now I can lock my guides again. Essentially what I want to do is I want to make one page here of type that then I can also call my specifications out over here, so I have a little bit of room over here. So let's say it like this. When you are creating a new block of type, in other words, what we want to do is, so let me save this real quick. Save as bio 1 demo. What you want to do is, if we go to this file, notice that this is all one big block of text. It's not a bunch of little text boxes. As well, if I turn under type, show hidden characters, take a look at the paragraph returns. There is no paragraph return here. In other words, don't do this. Why? This equals, because we're going to transfer this into the web world. This right here equals a blank p tag. No blank p tags, right? In other words, we want to control our measurements.
What do you mean a blank p tag? Just.
So this is a paragraph tag.
Mhm. Yeah.
And this is a paragraph tag. So if we had this marked up as HTML, that would be a blank paragraph tag with no content in it.
Okay.
Don't do that. Don't use BR tags and NBSP, non-breaking spaces, to lay out your page. Use CSS properly. Okay, and I'll recreate what I'm doing today as an HTML document down the road to show you. Okay, so here's my lorem ipsum text. Would you like to translate this from Latin? Oh, let's translate it, see what happens.
No. Oh,
But not only homework, and it is no, ooh. The author of Pregnant Skirt,
In an
lorem
ugly
football chat,
smile.
and
In an ugly smile. In any.
oh, I'm
ugly
just going to have to, tomorrow, developer CNN. Oh, I'm just going to have to use this. Specialize and earn a bananas. There it is. I just got it. I have to use that. So what I want to do is, instead of doing this, watch what happens. That is not what I want. Look at your face. I want to draw a text box, 620 pixels wide. Well, look at that. It comes with Lorem Ipsum text. I want to use mine, because mine is funnier. But if I turn on now the hidden characters, I've got those blank p tags. I don't want those. Let's get rid of those. Okay. So now what we have to do is, you know what I forgot to put in here? My logo. Let's go grab it. Paste my logo in there. And I'm actually going to change my logo from gray and to black, just for. So if I open up my PMS palette, swatch libraries, color books, Pantone solid coded, and if I typed in black, Pantone black 6, sounds good enough, right? Clear that out. Open up my swatches palette. Accidentally close it. Open it up again. Where's the select all unused? There it is. Select all unused. And delete. Yes. So now I have my black, my red, and my black. My Pantone blacks. So I am now going to make sure that all of this text is that Pantone black.
Are the Pantone colors preset? They're already in Illustrator, or do you have to?
Yeah, so that's where swatch libraries, color books, Pantone solid coded. Move these down a bit. Move this over, because the only thing that we're really worried about is setting copy, okay? So I'm going to start off by, if I select all this and then open up type, and I'm kind of going quickly because I'm trying to hit the 320 mark here. Type character styles, paragraph styles, right? If I edit normal paragraph style, general, basic character formats, I want to go with Arial regular, size, I'm going to go with 16 over 24. Turning and tracking, I'm going to leave alone. I'll say OK. All right. Now, 16 over 24, I think is a readable size to let it. So what's the formula? 16 over 24. Reduce that down.
8, 12, 4, 6.
16 over 24 equals 2 over 3, or 100 over 150. So when we are doing m's, we do 1m over 1.5 equals. Okay. But for now, we're using pixels. As well, let's take a look at this text. Between the lines of text, do we tab over the first line of a new paragraph these days? To make sure that, she's drinking here and eating. Do we do this these days? To denote a new paragraph.
Not an email.
No.
No, not in emails. Instead, what we do is we have space between paragraphs. So this is where, if we go back to my bio page 1, this is where between paragraphs then, I have 10 points space after. Okay, so if this was letting would go there, and then I'd add another 10 points of space after. Space after 10. And notice we're using points. Remember, 72 points equals 72 pixels, right? Because we're doing pixels at 72 points per inch, or 72 pixels per inch, okay? All right, so now, so far, if I then do undo hidden characters, how's the readability on these paragraphs? Yeah, okay. Now we could also, because on the web we don't have hyphenation, let's turn it off. Did it turn it off? Well, it's not cooperating with me. Moving on. Now for headlines. Headline level 1, and I'm going to hit a return. I'm going to turn my show hidden characters back on. Now, this, I want to do a new style. Headline, level 1. What's my font family I should use?
Arial.
I'm going to use Arial Black. Remember, because of my logo, Arial Black. Horizontal scale, remember? 90%. Indents and spacing. Here, I don't need space before, but I could do 4 pixels space after. I'm going to say OK. Is it even going to headline level 1? There we go. Come on, let me edit it. Size. Let's just go with a pretty big size, 48. Too big. Because we need the hierarchy to look relatively decent. Color, Pantone 186. I'm gonna go with my red color, just cause. You guys do what you want.
Does the background have to be painted?
Can. But for right now, we're just gonna use white. Okay.
But until there is fear of running into the bed.
Sure. Headline, level 2. Can I duplicate these? Let's see if I can. Ooh, great, I can. Headline level 1 copy. Headline level 2. Character formats. Let's go 24. Now here, we need a little bit space before and a little bit more space after. So currently, we've already done space after. Again, if we go back to this, instead of doing it like this with leading, we want to do it with space before and space after. Space before. I'm just going to use some typical measurements that I use. Great. Okay. Headline level 2. Copy. I want to then have two paragraphs in a row. I don't want that extra one. According to my assignment, I've got a logo, a main level heading, 2 sub-level headings, at least 2 paragraphs in a row. These 2 paragraphs are in a row. I need 1 unordered list, 1 ordered list, a block quote, and a text link. So I am just going to do this. Now, the unfortunate thing in Illustrator. These don't act like normal list items, okay? As well, I don't want these to have that much space after each list item, because that's not really readable, right? So if I duplicate this, I can't duplicate that. Let's do it like this. Let's take those bullets, and if I then go to character and say, I don't want 10 space after on every one, I just want 10 space after on the last one to kind of mimic a UL tag, if you will. Tabs. Let's tab it over 40 pixels. What is it? Cooperate with me. Let me just do one tab. Huh. Oh, I'll deal with that later. Let's do that. Let's do the second one, 40. And then the third one, oops. 50. 60. That's not cooperating with me. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Come on. Interesting. Let's do that one. 40. This one. Or that one. Oh. Yeah, screw it. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I'll let you guys futz with that. Get your bullets straightened out. Next thing, let's just copy this. List items. Characters. So in this one right there, I want 10 after because that's the end of the thing. Let's just add a little bit more text there. All right, so now I haven't done a block quote. You guys will have to put in a block quote. But what I want you to do then is call out these specifications, right? So you can do it as simple as this. Here's a line. This line is black. If I add an arrowhead to this by opening up the stroke palette, I'm just going to add the dot, right? And this is where you would want to say Arial black, and again, we can call this out. Let's just go back to in other words, I just need specifications. So wrong way, Arial regular. Arial, say 12, right? 100%. So right, I can say font, Arial black. Zoom in on this. I don't need any space before, space after. Font, Arial black. Size. What did we do, 36? 36 pixel. Leading, I think we did 36 pixel. Space before, I don't remember what we did. Space after, what did we do, 4 pixels? Great.
Was it 8 for this 54?
I don't remember, let's take a look at it. Let's actually create a new style here and say specifications. Okay. There we go. Make sure nothing is selected. Headline level 1, edit, put it up. Your formats. That's in spacing. Yeah, no space before. Space after, 4 pixels or 4 points. Let's change all these to points. Let's leave them pixels.
How did you get the little arcs, the little paragraph?
That is by showing hidden characters.
Oh, okay.
So if I turn them off, right? So now I have, I'm gonna move this over a little bit. So headline 1, font, Arial black, size 36, leading 36. Space before, none. Space after, 4 pixels. I'm gonna duplicate that. And I'm gonna say, body copy here, font, Arial regular, size 16, leading 24, space before 0, space after 10. Headline level 2.
I'm sorry, can I ask a
Yeah.
quick question? Maybe you went over this, but the explanation, the thing you're writing now, we're supposed to hand that in, but it doesn't matter what like style that's written in.
No, this is just your specification, right? The main thing is, so let me say, level 2, font size, oops, Arial black, size, what was it? 24, leading, 24, because I'm using a 1-to-1 ratio of size and leading for headlines. Space before, 8 pixel, space after, 4 pixel. Here's the thing. You need to make this look like a document setting type according to how you want it to be set and call it out and specify it.
But we can use lorem ipsum.
Yeah, lorem ipsum body copy. but actually put out the headlines, right? And the last thing I didn't do is a block quote. Let me try to do that real quick. Let's grab, let's see, copy. I am going to now make a new, I'll just use, select all. We'll put this right about here. Transform, width, 200. Put that over there. Normal paragraph style. Let's make a new paragraph style. Block quote. And I'm just gonna do the block quote. I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna make this fast. General. Yeah, Arial. Yeah, because nobody's here, so fuck everybody, right? Arial bold, 18, leading. So if I want a 2/3, 18 over what? Good job, you guys at math. 27. Character color, red. Indents and spacing. Space after 10, great. Text wrap. How do I do a text wrap? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Text wrap. Make. Okay. Oh, look at that. Move you up. Block quote. Just misspelled block quote. It's good to spell things correctly. Did I screw up the, let's see, advanced character formats? Yeah, horizontal scale. When you move stuff like that, that horizontal scale always gets screwed up. So you got to double check your horizontal scale a lot of times. But I can also go. At this point in time, I'm just kind of goofing off, making this look however I want to. Text wrap, let's go and go way in on the text wrap. I forget how to adjust the text wrap. Is there in here? Yeah, but let's see. Character justification. What was that? What was funny?
You don't want Martin's help?
Martin's there.
Our buddy.
Oh, is he Martin wanting to come in?
Yeah, he's inside.
Well, you can figure out how to do the text wrap on your own.
No,
Adjust
give
it.
him some of those.
Anyway, this is what you need to do, and then turn it in, right? Cool?
Are we using lorem ipsum or are we doing our own?
Lorem ipsum for body copy.
Okay,
Can we use
so we don't have to write out.
Samuel?
Good.
You can use Samuel Ipsum if you want to. I'm going to save this. Any questions? You guys see what we need to do? So the one thing that we didn't get to, which we did, but I just didn't put it up on the screen, the rules of setting readable type, right? I just went over my type size leading, space before, space after. You can download that, my old bio page 1. I'd recommend, and hear me when I say this, don't use 500. Use 620. That 500 is an old one. Use 620, okay? And do not download my bio page 1 and edit it. create your own document. I will fail you if you just edit my document. It says in big red letters right here, create your own document from scratch. Do not just reuse my document. You got to learn how to do. That's why I did this tutorial, making the document. And if the question is, well, are you going to let me have the document you just made? No, I'm not. So, what? Yeah, I know. You gotta do it yourself, right? Otherwise, it's plagiarism. Same thing when we get to code, man. You gotta don't reuse code. Don't copy and paste code.
A good coder, a lazy coder?
Oh, fuck that nonsense. A lazy developer is an unemployed developer.